and I got to be pretty good friends with him, and he sent me this National Geographic from 1985. Wow, with a little personal note from Jan.
When you come down, I'll have to show you our Vietnam, our Wall of Fame downstairs.
Whenever you're ready.
Ready? Okay, today is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2006. We are at Orchard Park High School in Orchard Park, New York. We are interviewing Leon Smith III. The interviewer is?
Adam, consult.
Okay. And learn about what life was like during the Vietnam War, and I'll be back.
Alrighty. Alright, Mr. Smith, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Okay, where were you living at the time?
Buffalo.
Why did you join?
So I wouldn't be drafted. I joined the reserve so I wouldn't be drafted.
How old were you when you enlisted?
Just out of high school.
Why did you pick the service branch that you joined?
So I wouldn't go to Vietnam.
Did you recall your first days in service? They were like?
At boot camp?
Yeah.
Boot camp was no fun. They were trying to break you down to build you up in a military man.
Well, what did it feel like to you? Emotionally, physically?
Well, it was very hard. It was, you were told what to do all the time. You woke up early, went to bed late, and you were physically abused. Not really, but to make you run around and do a lot of that stuff.
Do you remember your instructors?
Yeah. Oh my God, you know what? I do have a book somewhere. I'm really interested. There was a boot camp book. Anything to make money.
How did you get through boot camp?
There was no other choice. There was no option in those days. They didn't let you go home to your mammy.
Where were you stationed?
Great Lakes Naval Training Center outside of Chicago, Illinois.
And do you remember arriving and what it was like?
I'll tell you, it was a very strange thing. It was the day we landed on the moon, believe it or not. And my sister had taken the information about when I was supposed to ship out. I was supposed to take a train from Buffalo to Chicago. And she had written down 2 o'clock. Everybody assumed it meant 2 p.m., when in fact it meant 2 a.m. So I had to go be put on a plane to Chicago and get a taxi cab and drive out to Great Lakes Naval Training Center. And I remember standing in the Buffalo airport and watching the guy land on the moon.
What was your job assignment?
In boot camp or in the Navy?
In the Navy.
I was a gunner's mate.
And did you see combat?
Yes, I did.
Were there many casualties in your unit?
11 out of 30 guys in my division died.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Well, my first combat mission was going into Haiphong Harbor 2 hours before they mined it. And we're driving in, we got to slow down to shoot, and I'm shooting main battery. And how it worked is we had pre-assigned targets. And secondary battery, the ship is a pretty big ship. Let's see if I got a picture. That's main battery there. All right, and secondary battery, so you can see we killed a whole bunch of them. Secondary battery would be up on top here. And what they did is when they shoot at us, secondary battery shoots back at the flashes. So I'm shooting at pre-assigned targets, barracks, railroad lines, fuel depots, things like that. Secondary battery is shooting at people who are shooting at us, trying to take their stuff out. We went in early so that the planes could come in and drop the mines. So this is my first comment. I mean, this is it. I'm not a whole lot older than you guys, and we're sailing in there in the first multi-cruiser strike force since World War II. So it's kind of a big deal. And we're shooting, and I'm shooting my gun, and secondary battery starts shooting. We had observers in our turret, and you can see this is a turret. It's a self-enclosed thing. This is one of the strikes at high fog, shooting back at us. And the turret is in a self-enclosed unit. And so the T5, secondary battery, we're here, T5 is literally right on top of us. So they start shooting. Well, it sounds like they're hitting us. So the officer actually flips out. I mean, we're just start screaming, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. So, you know, we're sitting there going, geez, if this guy, I mean, he's the officer, if he thinks we're gonna die, what should I be thinking? So he's an observer. The guy running it was Hoyt, first class Hoyt. And Hoyt had been in Vietnam. I think this was his fourth tour of duty in Vietnam. So he goes over and he literally punches the guy out. Right? I mean, we're in war. I mean, we're getting shot at. You can hear the stuff hitting the ship. So he goes to the guy and goes, look, you either shut up or I'm throwing you outside. And he dies and gets thrown outside. And he turns to us and he says, you guys keep shooting. You know? You gotta keep shooting. We're shooting at you. So that was probably my most stark reminder. I mean, I was crying my eyeballs out. I was as scared as you could ever imagine. And, but I kept shooting very desperately. So that was my introduction to combat.
And were you a POW?
No.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
We had the Unit Navy Accommodation Medal. Obviously I got a combat ribbon. I got a Vietnam Republic Service ribbon. And a couple others that I don't remember.
How'd you get them? Just for being part of the...
Right, part of the ship.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
By mail. You got free mail. You had to write free with a stamp on it.
What was the food like?
Food was, well, we do 60 to 80 days at sea. So obviously fresh food was not a large part of the equation. So we had a lot of Spam, and a lot of pressed ham. Food was, I weighed 170 pounds when I left. When I came back, I weighed 127 pounds. Not good. It was so hot over there, the candy bars would melt.
Did you have plenty of supplies? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel pressure or stress?
Yeah.
It's probably a bad question.
I don't know, if someone was shooting at you, what would you feel?
Was there something special you did for good luck?
No, it was funny because we always thought we were just kind of badasses. You know? I suppose I shouldn't use that term, but we're pretty tough dudes. I guess one other story, kind of funny. We got a lot of in here. I think you'll find there's a a big article written by, in the New York Times about this whole thing. It's in here somewhere. New York Times Magazine. So we used to get all the reporters on their ship, and they'd come over, and it'd be 120 degrees. We'd be in cut-off jeans and T-shirts. And these guys would come on, and they'd have helmets, flak jackets, pants, flak, I don't know how they stood. They had to be so hot, they'd just be draining and dripping. The first class would go, we go, you know, all right, they're coming on board, they're touring our turret today. They go, well, wait, what can we say? He goes, look, I don't really care what you say. As long as you shoot the guns, when I tell you to shoot the guns, say anything you want. So we'd say things like, we love Ho Chi Minh. We're voting straight. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever voted was in Vietnam. And I voted Gus Hall. Does anybody know who Gus Hall is? Gus Hall was a famous guy who was a communist and ran for president of the United States every 4 years as a communist. And did it for 20 or 30 years. So my first vote for president was for Gus Hall in Vietnam. I just want to see what they do.
How did people entertain themselves?
Well, over there's a lot of stereo equipment that we bought. So we had good rock and roll music, you know, when you're on your downtime. Otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot of things that I could talk about we could do.
And there weren't any entertainers? Or?
On the ship?
Yeah.
No. There was nothing on the ship.
What did you do when on leave?
Well, we didn't get leave over there. We got, in the time I was there, we got 1 5-day rest and relaxation R&R in Hong Kong. And they told me I had a very good time in Hong Kong.
Where did you travel while in service? Anywhere else there?
Oh, yes. I came back. My first tour of duty was, you might have heard of this, Diego Garcia. It's been very famous in the news in the last year or two. It's a weapons training center in Puerto Rico, an island actually off Puerto Rico. And so my first thing was we went down and had war games on this island off Puerto Rico. And my ship was, had an admiral on board that ran Second Fleet, which is the whole Atlantic. And he was an amazing guy, actually. But, you know, he was in charge. So we sailed all over, shot the guns, did all this stuff, and then we went to San Juan, Puerto Rico. We went to Trinidad, Tobago, Port of Spain. We went to Colombia. We went to Venezuela. We went to Cuba. Then we went to Vietnam. I kind of spoiled the footage. Then when we came back, we had a cruise in the North Atlantic. I have my blue nose here. You know what a blue nose is?
No idea.
A blue nose is you've been above the Arctic Circle. See, that's a really cool picture right there. That's our gun shooting, and you can see the projectiles taking off. This ship, when all the guns shoot at once, the ship would go 9 feet backwards. Literally just go like this, 9 feet. So think of the little rock down the waterfront. This ship was bigger than that. We could have 90 300-pound bombs in the air before the first one hit. And every 8 seconds, here comes 9 more. You didn't want to be around it.
Did you recall any particular humorous or unusual events?
That I could tell you kids?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know. It was a weird thing. I mean, after a while, I just kind of got used to war, you know. And it was life. Just every day you went out and fought, and you went out to sea and rearmed and resupplied. And you know, literally after a while, it just was like no big deal. I mean, it was a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal. So we just, you know, we'd go way out in the Gulf of Tonkin, and we had a couple bands, you know, kids that played music instruments, so they'd have a hoedown or something like that for Thanksgiving. You know, we actually got real and reline the guns, is really the technical term. And that was in Subic Bay, the Philippines. And Subic Bay was quite an odd place. Very odd place. There was just nothing you couldn't do in Subic Bay.
What did you think of your officers, fellow soldiers?
Well, obviously in war, you can get pretty close to your fellow soldiers. Most of the officers I thought were very competent. Our captain was extraordinarily competent. We were being chased out of, I think, Haiphong by some PT boats. And they got us, they got the drop on us. And so I'm shooting at these boats, and I actually got one. But a couple of them launched torpedoes at us. And the ship would go so fast that the wake would actually be over the thing right here, be that high. And at the last second, he turned, and the torpedoes hit the wake and blew up and saved us. That's a pretty competent officer.
And let's see. Did you keep a personal diary?
No.
Do you recall the day the war ended?
For me?
Yeah.
Yes. What date? I think it was December 2nd, 1973.
How long were you in service altogether?
2 years.
What did you do in the days and weekends afterward when you were out? The war ended.
Well, again, when you say the war ended, my military service didn't end when the war ended. All right, which for me was a good thing. I got home Christmas Eve of 1973. No, Christmas Eve that's 1972. Christmas Eve of 1972. And my parents were there, and my wife was there. And they flew me back to Buffalo. And it was a very strange thing. And that lasted one day and then flew back to the ship. So I had a whole year after Vietnam before I had to become a civilian again. Which is good because it was, you know, it's a significant change in lifestyle. So Joel,
We're coming.
don't lose this stuff, Joel.
I will be back at the end of the day to make sure it's done.
Thanks, Joel.
Did you work or go back to school?
After I got out of the military?
Yeah. Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
Yes.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Sure.
Which you still have today? No,
Not
just
one.
while in the service.
Just while in the service. Well, I do have one kind of funny story. Our ship blew up. That's when all the guys died. And this guy, Ray Jordan, we called him Scupper. Scupper is the thing on the side of the ship where all the water goes. And I mean, I only knew him as Scupper. So years later, probably 10 years later, I keep getting phone calls. And I'm working. That was a long time ago. This Ray Jordan keeps calling. I have no clue who Ray Jordan is. So he goes, Leon, it's Scupper. I go, your dad. They told us he died. They told us he died. So it was, that was pretty wild. He wasn't dead.
Did you join a veterans organization?
Yes.
Is there a name to it, or?
Vietnam Veterans of America, VVA for short.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
I work in a family business.
Did you military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes.
If in your veteran organization, what kind of activities does your post or association have?
Well, they have a monthly meeting. They do honor guard things. When veterans die, you're entitled to an honor guard, and you actually get a flag. You don't. Your family gets a flag. You're dead. And they do things. We built a monument down on the waterfront, Vietnam Veterans Monument, and they go down there on veteran holiday type things like Memorial Day and Veterans Day and all that. And they do vigils and things like that. And they march in parades, that kind of stuff.
And do you attend the reunions?
Yeah. Occasionally.
And how did the service and experiences affect your life after?
I don't know, I think there was a significant maturing effect to it. Responsibility, camaraderie. You certainly didn't fool around when it was time to go to work.
Is there anything you think we should know that we haven't covered yet?
No. Looks like we're gonna have war for a long time. I'd avoid it at all costs.
Okay. Wraps it up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good job. So they're gonna keep this stuff?